Good afternoon, Phnom Penh. Could you please turn on your cameras for initial greetings? Yes. Good to see you all. This time your hairs are prepared, so that's good news. So you knew it was coming. We have already 30 plus participants, which is good news. So how is everything? Yeah, who's going to answer that question, right? "31 participants. Okay, let's have a quick check whether teams are here. You know the drill, right, from last week? So if I call the team name, somebody must speak and say something about your team, whether you are here, you're not here, how are you doing? Are there any, things that we should know about your team, your industry? I will talk about your industries in the second half of the course. I'd like to start with the energy industry, whether they are here this week.
Yes,
Energy team.
Energy team is here this week, Professor.
How many of you here today?
I think we are all here.
Nice, because last week we missed you. I'm glad you are here, this team, this week. Retail, are you with us?
Yes, we are here, Professor. All of us are here.
Nice. Construction guys.
I'm here, sir. We're here.
Okay, nice. Education, most important.
We are here, Professor.
Good. Garment, footwear, textile.
We are here, Professor.
Okay. It takes a while before someone realizes, hey, this is our team. Who should speak? What shall I say? Tourism.
Yes, we are here, Professor.
Good. Finance.
Yes, Professor, we are here.
Okay, you see, there's a little speed coming up. I like that. Finally, agriculture.
Yes, we're here, Professor.
Okay. How are the rice crop doing?
We're doing fine.
Very green. Nice. I missed to see the rice fields in Southeast Asia. These days we'll start seeing tulips in Holland. Everywhere will be full with tulips. The whole world will be importing tulips from here. All the tulips are coming actually from Turkey, right? Did you know that? So Holland made a good trade, receiving a few tulip bulbs from Ottoman Empire, let it grow here and export and make billions of dollars each year for that. So within your industries, we'll try to figure it out. What can be the next tulip for Cambodia? You see, you are representing your industries. We know that garments and textile has a lot of export potential. agriculture is using a lot of no, efforts of the population. Education is picking up. Technology education is also flourishing. So all these nice things, facts and figures, I believe you prepared for industry. So I'm very curious, what are the latest figures in your country? But before we move into that, let's see what I have for you guys this week. Obviously, I will introduce the next week assignment, and then you'll start explaining your stuff. But I have actually a question that I want you to visualize our planning and have tell me whether this planning is suitable. You see, in this planning, you work in May and early June, you have your final presentations. So this 21st of May till 1st of June is critical. I was wondering if this is suitable for your final exams. Alternatively, I have a suggestion. We can take it 1 week earlier so that you still have a heavy May, but your final presentations will be before June, before your final exams start. And we can plan the last presentations in any time, maybe after your exams. So my question is to you, if this is more suitable for final exams or this one? Do you know your schedule already for final exams? You don't know, but you know that it will be in June, right? So imagine you have early June and an exam. So you will have to prepare for actually your big preparation work in this planning. Here, you will have a very heavy May. You will have every week a class, almost, except you will have 2 weeks off here, prepared. But then in June, you will be free for your exams. So is it... So help me out here. How can we... Shall we make a planning now or shall we leave it a little bit for later? Okay, I see no response. Let's see. Okay, this is the original planning, but it has, 2 lectures in June. So I suggest actually to move a little bit earlier so that your June will be a little bit relaxed. Who likes the idea? You could just show your hands. I don't see any names, or that is better. Okay. Who would like to stick to the original planning? You will have 2 lectures in June during your planning. No one? Okay, then I will adjust that. We'll have the second option. So you will have ESG analysis in first 2 weeks of May. And then you have 2 weeks to prepare your final analysis. So end of May, actually, you will make your 90% of your presentations, and I'll give you feedback. And then we will plan your final presentation, just polishing for somewhere in June, maybe after your exams. Okay, I'll set it this way. Right, we'll have we'll talk about a little bit about your team development and 7 steps of problem solving, which I used to do as consultant at McKinsey. And I will introduce PESTEL analysis. I'm sure you heard that before. So that is the next week's deliverable. And then we'll start hearing your industry facts and figures. So you set up your teams, and 2 teams actually had to bring new members to make it all 40. We have 40 participants, that's nice. It seems we are missing only 1 participant, which should be okay. So we form the teams, but when you have the deliverables, you start having little storming phase in team developments. You know, you will see some members will talk about, oh, what is this? I don't have time, you know, I have midterm, you know, my brother is here and there. I have problems with my girlfriend, boyfriend. You know, you will have this regular team issues in storming. Maybe some team members will say, okay, I'll bring this information, but, you know, forget that information is there. So that is quite normal. And, you know, part of our consulting club is also learning to deal with team dynamics. You know, you will realize not everybody will perform every week. You know, you will have some down weeks that you say, I'm a little demotivated, I have other stuff, but you have to pick up in the upcoming week or weeks. So dealing with that is actually a skill that will help you in your organizations when you start working. Because work life is exactly the same. You will work in an audit team or in a finance department with 5 people, 6 people, and, you know, you will have similar constraints when you are doing your job. That's why you need to understand that at some point, you need to move from storming to norming, okay? You will say, this is how we work. You know, our weekly meetings are on this hour, this day. If you cannot make it, you know, you have to do this and that. So all teams will adjust the team dynamics. If you have very difficult time, you know, operating within your teams, that maybe first try to solve it yourself. Otherwise, you know, let me know so that we could have a specific team Zoom meeting so that I can understand, okay, what's going on here? What can I do to resolve your issues? Can we agree on that? So I'm here to help, but ideal is that you solve the team issues within the team, because you set up your team with the members that you get together. So, you know, you already have an advantageous position, but, you know, things might change and we will act accordingly. Our main goal is actually keep all members, all teams in a performing level. So that's my ultimate responsibility. That all teams are here and prepared for their deliverables, and teams within themselves should organize that the team acts coherently. Look, who's going to prepare, who's going to talk, and not every time the same people, obviously. So that's the team development. Any particular things that you would like to discuss or tell? Maybe you're having fun with your team members. Team days. Which team is having fun with this consulting team activities? With none? Oh my God. Okay, try to make it fun with yourselves, okay? Get your iced coffees, get together and talk about your industries. Because it's fun, you know, who would tell you that you will be specialized in agriculture industry in last year? But we have a team to focus on that. Who would say that you will learn a lot about construction? Maybe you had no idea before. So it's fun to explore new areas, and this learning has no exam, right? So you will explore yourself, and you will bring information and explain to the rest. So that is a skill set that's quite different than school. But it has little learning curve because it is very free. It sounds like very easy, and when you take it too easy, they will notice that, I mean, your one-page deliverable per week will be a little bit weak or weaker than the other teams. So you will notice. So I don't have to pinpoint every time, but you will see when other teams are prepared better, you will also realize for yourself. And I hope that those observations will lead you to deliver a better page next week. So see it that way. So it's a peer-to-peer learning and learning by doing. This is particularly important when you have when you start actually bringing some content information. You will have to define, okay, what is our deliverable? Here we say the problem, but okay, this is our deliverable. Like today's deliverable is facts and figures. Structure the deliverable. You know, in our industries, what are the 5-6 items that we should mention? When you Google, what kind of statistics, facts, and figures are popping up? When you look at the international facts and figures, are there missing information in your findings? Okay, let's then prioritize what we don't have. Let's plan who's going to find it, and let's find time to research it and synthesize findings, actually bringing everything into one pager. So that's most of the time more difficult than making 10 pages. So that is the cycle that we implement in consulting projects, and it takes sometimes 8 weeks of 7 weeks to make a 10-page presentation for companies, but the structure is the same. Next 2 weeks, you will have 2 analyses. One is Pestel, which, as you can see here, and those pages you will download. So PowerPoint templates are there. So you just have to find nice findings to fill the blank areas. We'll have the similar boxes, 5 boxes for 5 courses analysis, which you will download after the class. So it seems very easy, right? I mean, you can just sit in 5 minutes, type 5 words for each box, and in half an hour you're done. So that's very easy part. It's very tempting to put some generic information that ChatGPT tells you to type it. But I want you to think a little bit broader than that, because it is your the unique learning opportunity, actually learning about external environment in Cambodia. You know, what is going on with the economic conditions? What is the prospects? What are technology in your specific industry? What are the political factors? Are there legal constraints? How about environmental factors? And for each industry, things can be very much different. As you can imagine, environment is very important for agriculture, maybe also for garment industry, for toxic dyes, etc. Technology is maybe more important for finance. So you will have to think within the constraints, within the scope of your own industries, and making some compelling insights rather than standard findings. Once again, since it is a blank page, so you need to find 4 or 5 facts and figures or news about your industries. So you will have to deep dive a bit more than very superficial informations. And I don't know how your teams will operate in that. Maybe each team member will take 1 box. I don't know. Maybe for that week, 2 team members will take, okay, I'll take 3, you take 3, and then we bring that information to our team discussion. Is it the other 3 member maybe can spare their energy for next week deliverables. Then the other 2 team member can take 2 boxes, 3 boxes. Then as a team, you can make some judgments. So you can play with also team dynamics. Are you going to work all of you at the same time? Or maybe some division of labor. This week you can do that. Next week you can do that. But when you present here, I'd like to see your team contribution, team discussions. Because this is where learning will be happening. Because I'm not teaching you anything about your industries. It will be slightly self-learning, then peer-to-peer learning, then maybe facilitated learning, which I will facilitate your learning curve. And then what will happen is up to you. I will only interfere when I see your deliverables are below expectations. You see, you are selected for this club because you are straight A students. So your deliverables should reflect that. So I'm not going to accept mediocre, very average student work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So that is a little expectations. And it's okay when you have a 1 week below expectations, you will see yourself. But I expect that you have a team talk and improve your findings. In May, I think beginning of 30th of April, you will also work on these ESG pillars. So I want you to start thinking about these pillars when you think about your PESTEL, for example. What are the political, regulatory, or legal things also with relation to these pillars? Because it's very easy to say, environmental is becoming very important, but maybe more important for agriculture than construction. Maybe social pillar. Maybe there are some new legislation coming up for construction workers, which are mainly not protected usually. Maybe that legal or political developments will be very specific for your pillars. So main messages, when you might make your PESTEL analysis, take into consideration these 3 pillars. So when you have team discussions, imagine 2-3 people bring first draft of this page, start challenging your team. Are we including ESG within our PESTEL analysis? So that should be a key discussion point when you have your team talk. I can imagine you have seen this before, right, in your strategy course. So that's actually not a very complicated one. And once again, it's very easy to make a very easy page, but this is not what we are looking for once again. So make that easy page, stage 1. In stage 2, make it your industry specific. And stage 3, challenge with ESG pillars. So in maybe imagine you have 1.5 hour team time, spend half an hour each stage. Okay, these are the basics, check. These are industry specifics, check. Okay, how about ESG? So actually in 1.5 hours, you can really make these pages. And I solved this template elsewhere. You don't have to do that, but it's useful to look at, for example, the trends. You know, what are the trends and what are the expectations? And on the environmental side, there will be a lot of new developments, because you have downloaded the last year's report, right, from CMREAP, environmental meetings. Please refer to that document as well. Maybe you will see some people that you can connect later to ask a question or ask industry-specific informations. Well, this is my basic introduction for this week's work. Are there questions regarding anything about the material, deliverables? I'll take as a, you know, we got everything is under control. Looking at the time, actually, I'd like to spend from this week onwards a little more time for team presentations, but it takes actually 8 teams times more than 5 minutes. This week, rather than having breakout rooms, I'd like to start immediately actually team presentations. And we like to start with energy team, because last week we didn't hear about their team, their members, and their initial findings, and facts and figures. I will stop sharing. Energy team, floor is yours.
Please wait, Professor. It's some technical error, Professor.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, Professor. Did you see it clearly, Professor?
That's very clear, especially if I have my glasses.
Yeah, so good morning, good evening, Professor and everyone. My name is Hạ Suk Mek Morakat, and I am representing Team 7, which is the energy industry. So nowadays we are embarked on a journey through Cambodia involving energy landscape. The energy industry in Cambodia is at a critical juncture, experiencing a significant transition toward renewable green energy source. The shift is driven by a country energy deficit and escalating import from neighboring nations. Cambodia's limited domestic energy resources have led to a growing reliance on import, raising concern over energy security and economic stability. The surge in import has undersourced the agency for alternative solutions to mitigate these challenges. To address these challenges, the Cambodian government has taken proactive measures to promote the adoption of renewable energy solutions. Particularly, there is a strong focus on solar and hydroelectric power, both of which offer promising prospects for the nation's energy future. Nonetheless, significant infrastructure and regulatory hurdles persist, underscoring the imperative for sustained investment and policy reform to realize Cambodia's renewable energy potential and its reduced dependence on costly import. And now we move to the strategic issues and research question. First, what does renewable energy look like in Cambodia context? Well, we can mean that we can understand where we are or where we should do with it. Second, what are the reasons behind the increase in the use of renewable energy? Well, in order to identify the reason why people want to use or why there is an increase in using it based on its advantage. Third, what are the challenges that Cambodia faced during the implementation of renewable energy plan? Well, because we have to know about the problem or issues that we have in order to establish effectively strategies. Four, how can Cambodia deal with those challenges while comply with ESG? We can ensure that while trying to achieve our goal, we also be able to protect our environment. And lastly, what are the role of government in implementing clean energy in Cambodia, such as government policy or regulation? So let's move to the motivation. Well, Cambodia first pressing energy needs to rely on having on import from neighboring country, leading to a costly energy deficit that strain the economy and hinder sustainable development. Cambodia investing in renewable energy sources like solar, winds, and hydroelectric power offer a solution. By doing so, Cambodia can reduce dependency on import, enhance energy security, and stimulate domestic economic growth. Lastly, it's Cambodia embracing renewable energy aligned with environmental, social, and governance principles to promoting sustainable development and mitigating environment degradation and ensuring equitable access to affordable for clean energy for all citizens. And that will be all for my presentation. Thank you, Professor, and everyone.
Well, it is well prepared. So one thing that caught my attention, you have been reading every sentence that you've been writing. So this is my feedback to every team. So try to tell a story. You know, this is the information there. Try not to read everything out loud, because we also started reading every sentence that you're saying. So that is a skill set that will improve along the way. So try not to read 100% for the upcoming week. Maybe it will be 90, 80, 70, 50%. Maybe at the end of our program, you will be a better presenters. Okay, thank you. And this was our last week's deliverable. And how about this week's deliverable, energy team? Do you have facts and figures for us?
Yes, we do, Professor.
I thought you wouldn't have that, and I said, oh.
Okay, so am I audible and visible?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I will start my presentation in 3, 2, 1. So good evening, Professor and everyone. My name is Bormai, and I am one of the team member from the energy industry. So firstly, before moving on, allow me to give you all an overview or how the green energy industry in Cambodia would look like. I'm trying to identify the overview, the key products, and the key player as well, including the overview, in order for you all to understand better, especially in terms of Cambodian context when it comes come to the renewable energy. So actually, we believe that in the current status quo, Cambodia green energy is actually started to increase because, for example, we could see that based on the electricity in Cambodia, 50% of them are from the fossil fuel, which is non-renewable energy. However, on the other hand, we can see that the other 50% are from the hydropower, which is one of the green energy. So we can see that the green energy in Cambodia is start to increase day by day, especially when it's come to the utilization of the energy as a whole. Further than that, we can say that the Cambodian government, they also have one main expectation or one main goal is to achieve the green energy by 70% by 2030, meaning that they are trying to increase the use of the green energy rather than the fossil fuel or coal or gas, which is mean that is why they are trying to increase 70% by 2030. So moving on, so what are the key products of the green energy within Cambodian context? So actually we can see that there are many types of green energy. However, in Cambodia, there are only two main green energies that we are usually using, including the solar as well as the hydropower. However, in terms of these two, we can see that the majority of them, most of the people, they are using the hydropower rather than solar, because in this context, we can say that 40% of the clean energy are from the hydropower plants. Meanwhile, more than 10% are from the solar power. So in this context, we can say that the renewable energy within Cambodian context is increasing, especially it increased until more than 62% of the country total consumption. However, based on this green energy, we can say that there are our key main players, especially the EDC, the Blue Circle Renewable. The government, they also play a very significant role because they are the one who set the policies and the goals in order to increase the use of the renewable energy, as well as the other international organization, including World Bank or civil society organization. However, even though Cambodia is moving toward the use of green energy, there are also many ESG issue within the industry as well. So one of them is that when we are trying to rely so much on the fossil fuel or the non-renewable energy, it's actually caused the higher air or water pollution rate within Cambodian context. But firstly, for instance, if we look at Indonesia, it's also one of the countries in Southeast Asia, right? So we can use Indonesia as a case study to compare to Cambodia, where Indonesia is all over of the air pollution, where people are actually experiencing a very bad health impact. So this can be compared to Cambodian context that if we keep relying too much on the non-renewable energy, people's health will be very negatively impacted, as well as the environment as a whole as well. Furthermore, the extraction or the burning of the fossil fuel, it's caused the higher carbon dioxide or the greenhouse gases, which is why in terms of this context, in terms of these issues, there are also practices or implementation from the government or from Cambodian context as well. Firstly, Cambodia aimed to increase their renewable energy by 70% by 2030. So in order to prove that, we can see that along the way of the from Phnom Penh to Sihanoukville Expressway, they are trying to build the solar power. So this shows that instead of using the non-renewable energy, we are trying to build the solar power, which is very great aspect because we are trying to achieve that by 2030. Further to that, there's also the assessment and evaluation, especially to ensure that the factory and industries in Cambodia, they are trying to comply with the ESG policy of the Ministry of Environment, because all of this is to ensure that Cambodia will be able to achieve or increase its renewable energy sources by 70% within 2030. So overall, in terms of our context, we believe that Cambodia moving toward of the green energy is a very significant journey and step, which is why we are focusing on the renewable energy in the energy industry itself. And we believe that this will not only impact on the environment alone, but this also play a very significant role in terms of Cambodia economic growth as well, especially it will be beneficial in the long run. So that's it from our team, and thank you.
Very well prepared and very well presented. You see, you've been not reading but telling us a story, very lively. There was a little typo in your key products. You said 15% fossil. It has to be 51, I believe. But that's a little thing that you can, easily fix it. All right, that's a very good, very powerful opening, especially after last week's no-show. So I'm glad you are back and powerful. All right, let's go to retail industry.
Professor, can you wait for a second? One of our members seems to be busy she will join in a bit. She seems to have some difficulty with her internet connections.
Okay, then let's move while waiting to construction industry. Oh, very busy page, a lot of information. Whoa. So you found some information, that's good news.
Greeting, Professor, and hello, everyone. I am Lee Bohia, and today I will be representing Team 1, the construction team. Last time we only covered some of the basic information, so today we go into a little bit more detail about the industry. So without further ado, let us start to see how the construction industry look like. When compared to the other two major sectors of the economy, which are textiles and tourism, the construction industry is regarded as one of the key pillars of Cambodia's economy and is expected to keep growing and remain in high demand for the foreseeable future. Since the COVID-19 pandemic's tragic impact on the global economy, Cambodia's construction industry has experienced a sharp decline, and a number of construction projects have either stalled or are moving forward extremely slowly. The Cambodian government has therefore actively invested in infrastructure projects like roads, bridges, ports, and airports to support economic development and connectivity in an effort to draw in foreign investment and modernize the nation through integrated public infrastructure development projects that were widely supported last year. Urban areas of Cambodia, particularly Phnom Penh, are witnessing an increase in demand for residential, commercial, and industrial properties. The construction industry will grow in time of political stability, strong economic growth, and rising demand for structures such as entertainment venues, malls, and buildings. Then we also have the market share of the industry. We can see that despite having slower recovery rates, 0.5% and 0.8% respectively, the real estate and construction sectors also experience expansion. Regardless of this, condo in particular, which appeal to the needs of visitors and the building sector, were affected. Nevertheless, there was a 0.9% increase in residential construction due to the growth in domestic demand, particularly for mid-range and low-cost homes. The number of approved projects decreased by 2.6% to 4,191 from prior year. Nevertheless, the project's area and value decreased by -43.6% and -45.3% respectively. In addition, even with Chinese investment ceasing, the construction sectors account for 9 to 10% of Cambodia's GDP in 2022. That's all for the market share. Now let us dive through the key products and key players of the construction industry. In the term of key products, we mean the type of projects that have a huge impact on the growth of construction industry. First, we have residential construction. The project types in this sector include single-family housing and multi-family housing projects driven by increased investment and factors such as population growth, rising incomes, and urbanization, which stimulate demand for improved housing options. Infrastructure construction. The project types in this sector include rail and road projects and is thriving due to substantial investment from both public and private sectors and at enhancing the country's transportation infrastructure and fostering economic development. And we have energy and utility construction, including electricity, telecommunications, and renewable energy projects is expected to expand as the government gives priority to the production of renewable energy in order to sustainably fulfill the growing demand for energy, in line with programs such as the National Energy Efficiency Plan and Power Development Master Plan. We also have commercial construction, include leisure, hospitality, and retail buildings, and is experiencing growth fueled by investment in tourism and service sectors, driving economic development and urbanization. Lastly, we have institutional construction, include educational and healthcare facilities, which is set to expand with investment pouring into healthcare and education infrastructure projects, addressing the country's growing needs in these critical sectors. For key players, they have played an important role in the industry. Those include Chipmunk Group, Sino Great Wall International Engineering, Watanabe Properties, OCIC, which stands for Overseas Cambodia Investment Corporation, and Cambodian government. Next, we have some of key milestones of the industry. 2008 to 2018, the Ministry of Land Management, Urban Planning and Construction of Cambodia reportedly approved 43,136 projects. This project amounted to more than $43.3 billion in investment capital. 2019, from January to April, they approved over 367 million foreign investment. At the forefront of foreign investor, though is China, wherein they accounted for 315 million, which equal to 8,600 of overall foreign investment for the construction project. In 2021 alone, the Ministry of Land Management, Urban Planning and Construction of Cambodia approved 4,302 new development projects, which amount to almost 30 million square meters. In 2023, there are so many big projects that have the industry to reach major growth. Those projects include Siem Reap Angkor International Airport, Techno Tak Ma International Airport. The airport runway construction is 100% complete. The first phase of the project is expected to be completed in 2024 and begin operation in 2025. Dara Sako International Airport. It was 100% completed in February 2023. However, the opening time has been delayed. Phnom Penh Third Ring Road. The inauguration ceremony was held in August 2023 with a total length of nearly 53 kilometers. It is the most expensive road project in Phnom Penh. And then we have Koh Pich Connery Bridge and Cambodia-Korea Friendship Bridge. In 2024, we also looking forward to this key project which focus on Cambodia's expressway, which have Phnom Penh Babat Expressway, with a total length of approximately 138 kilometers and is expected to be completed in 2027. The total investment is approximately 1.638 billion US dollar. Construction started on June 7, 2023. And we have Phnom Penh Siem Reap Poi Pat Expressway. The road construction study was completed on May 31st, 2023, and a framework agreement for the expressway construction was signed on June 7. The total investment exceeds $4 billion. Moving on to the last point of today's presentation, which is the main issue and the solution. For the environment issue, we have air pollution, soil erosion, and degradation. And the solution is implementing green building practices, strengthening and complying with environmental regulation, EIA. And for the social, we have poor working condition, lack proper contracts, receive unsafe training, and we recommend some solution, which is improve health and safety measure and establish clear labor policies. The last one is governance issue, which focus on bribery and kickbacks, lack of transparency and accountability. And the solution to these issues is risk management and executive compensation. And that's all for today. Thank you for your attention.
Okay. Again, very nice, prepared and very well explained. A lot of information, numbers. I will have one suggestion. You use, instead of market share, use GDP share. That would be more suitable. And I think for all teams, that would be interesting to add share in the GTB in your key findings when you improve your pages. So add share of GDP, because market share will be among the companies. Maybe production share for utilities of and energy like fossil, etc. These are not market share. So please find share of GDP of your industry as a separate information, and how your products within the industry is your maybe product share. And market share is all about competitive powers. You know, there are maybe 2,000 companies, and 5 big ones maybe getting the 90% of market share. So these are the details which we will be looking at some point. So after these the feedback, I will ask you to upload your first 2 pages, your team page and industry page, within a week time to our classroom area. So little polish after your presentation and then after my little feedback, and let's start keeping some documentation in our classroom. Another little suggestion maybe for all teams, because I know bribery is a big issue in the country, but you know, it is called in corporate meetings unofficial fees. Maybe we can use that term, which is more friendly than actually the bribery, because when you present this to government officials at some point, you know, that term bribery will be a little bit too strong. Do you know what I mean? So that is the stakeholder management. And we have seen that word unofficial fees in the you know, the environmental seminars, meetings. They use that term. So this is how I picked up. Also, Cambodia Investment Review news include that term rather than you know, bribery. And bribery could be very little between motorbike and traffic police, but in unofficial fees can be millions. In a $2 billion construction projects, and this is true for whole world, maybe there are $200 million unofficial fee. So that's little beyond, you know, $2 the bribery that we're talking about. So let's don't ignore it, but let's put it in a way that it would be more friendly for those who are actually potentially accused with that. Okay, so GDPs you will add before you upload your pages, and maybe you have a little polish. Thank you, construction. Let's see if retail team is ready to talk.
Yes,
And I realize,
here.
okay, I realize you explain wonderfully, but more than 5 to 6 minutes. Let's see how time will go. Try to make it really 7-8 minutes max. Otherwise, we don't have enough time. Right, retail, we can start.
Yes, Professor, wait for a second.
Okay, so hello, Professor.
Hello.
We will start by looking at how the industry looks like.
So in recent years, the retail industry is growing really fast. We can observe that through the development of large shopping malls and the rapid expansion of supermarket chains. And this growth could be attributed to different factors, but one of the main factor is the income, the rise in income. We can see that many people have moved from the low income level into the middle income level. For example, between 2014 and 2018 alone, more than 1.2 million people have moved into the middle income, and this increased the demand for convenient shopping. Interestingly, alongside this increased demand, shopping habits are also evolving. Cambodians are turning away from traditional market and embracing online shopping for its wider variety and convenience. The Cambodian retail sector is attractive for business to open up the shop with an affordable rent price of about $25 per square meter in a month, like shopping in Aeon Mall. However, if we look at the population of the country and the income, it is still a hindrance that the foreign investors should be considering. And moving on to the key players, Cambodia's retail sector is a mix of modern and traditional options. Major shopping, we have Aeon Mall and Chipmunk, which provide a wide variety of stores and international brands. And for retail stores, the Lucky Supermarket owns 55 stores across the country. We also have Circle K and Super Duper, which have joined the competition recently and is also welcomed by the community of Cambodia. And for traditional market, we have Central Market, which provide unique souvenirs and local produce, attracting tourists and contribute significantly to the economy. However, for online shop, we know that the demand has increased, but there is no key player in the field. And this could be a concern, but also an opportunity that business can open up a successful e-commerce platform in the future. So for key products, we have food, alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink, apparel, luxury good, accessories, and household appliance, in which these products generate up to billions of dollars revenue per year. And next, Thierry will explain more about the market side and overview.
Good afternoon, Professor. And as Lisa have already briefly talked about the industry and its key player, and also its key product, I will be providing more information about this industry, including its potential growth and its market size, and more about its overview. With the latest data received, it is said that Phnom Penh alone has a 56 complete modern retail land, and including Aeon Mall and like Chipmunk retail. And moreover, in 2022 alone, they already cover an impressive total area of 16,253 square meters of the Phnom Penh land. And additionally, there are also 12 properties under the development for the future retail industry. And also, as for our market size, it is that one of our key player alone, which is the Chipmunk retail, already has a $325.4 million revenue according to Rocket Reach. And with the number, the market size of this industry nowadays, it is expected that this industry has the potential with a both of total 22.7 modern retail property land by 2026. And furthermore, information about its market overview and the key player about their number of employee and branch. I will bring three main key player to talk about, which is Lucky Mall and Aeon Mall and then Chipmunk. As for Lucky, DF Lucky nowadays has a total of 55 branches, and it is expected to grow even more. And then they also have a number of 1,300 employees just with Lucky alone. And then Aeon has a total of three branches only, but they also have a 176 employee include as of June 2023. And this number also include one of their side mall, which is the Aeon Mall Logi Plus Co Ltd. And also Chipmunk, despite open really late compared to other supermarket. They already has 6 branches and with 236 employees. This show that the number of retail property in Cambodia could be growing, is growing at a fast rate that due to what Lisa has already talked about is the growing in income. And this is only about the market overview of the traditional mall where people go outside. As for the e-commerce statistic in Cambodia, it also offer an insightful look to that in count that this industry, retail industry category in Cambodia already has 74 store opened online, which is a big store, which is about the 12.61% of the total online store in this region, according to e-commerce statistic in Cambodia. And this is the end of my part. My teammate will take up the next part. Thank you, Professor.
Hello everyone and hello Professor. So regarding to the main ESG issues in the Cambodian retail industry encompass, we will point out to each category. Let's go for the first one, which is the environmental impact. So there are challenges related to the waste management, the energy consumption, as well as carbon emissions, also the responsible sourcing and disposal practice, which are the prominent concerns. The second one we have found, which is the main problem regarding to the retail sector or the fair labor, including wages, working conditions, supply chain transparency, and the community engagement. Regarding to the last one, we have found that the challenges regarding to the ensuring transparent and ethical corporate governance practices, including accountability, transparency, and the anti-corruption measures, which is the essential for sustainable business operation in Cambodia's retail industry. Since you guys have heard regarding to the issues already, maybe my friends will tell you regarding to the best way to or the best solutions to all of them.
Right, team, Professor, and everyone. So right now I'm going to talk about the ESG best practices in the retail industry concerning ESG issue in Cambodia that should be tackled in several ways. Firstly, environmental sustainability. Retailers should adopt environmentally sustainable practices throughout their operation, including reducing carbon emission, minimizing waste, and conserving natural resources. This could involve implementing energy-efficient technology, reducing packaging waste, and promoting recycling. The second practice would be about community engagement and development. Retail companies can engage with local communities in Cambodia to understand their needs and contribute to sustainable development projects that will include investing in community infrastructure, supporting education and healthcare programs, and collaborating with local NGOs or government agencies. Finally, supply chain transparency. Retailers should prioritize transparency in their supply chains, particularly in industries such as garment manufacturing, where issues like worker exploitation and poor working conditions have been documented. Implementing systems to track the origin of products and ensure compliance with labor standards can help reduce these risks. To conclude, it's significant for companies to integrate environmental consideration into their business strategy and operation to drive positive environmental outcomes and while meeting business objectives. This is all for our presentation. Thank you.
Very nice. Also, 4 team members presented. That's also a choice. Sometimes 1, sometimes 4. So make the team dynamics accordingly. I have a little suggestion to your team, because you've focused immediately large players, large retail players. which is where you can find information, obviously. But don't forget that there are maybe thousands of small retail players, like small shops, people selling stuff on the markets. Maybe they are not even registered. So maybe you could add a little pie chart that your selected companies are maybe covering only 20% of the whole Cambodian retail market. Then you can say, okay, we know the 80% or 50% of the retail is gone, the under-registered small shops. And obviously, they have different ESG topics than large players. So we'll have our final presentations, maybe something to say, okay, this is what we see in large firms, supermarkets, retail, and malls. But actually, things are happening slightly different in non-registered, smaller cases. If you make a recommendation, you could say, well, maybe government should pay more attention to the unregistered small entities than the large ones. Maybe they are doing fine. You see what I mean?
Yes, Professor.
Yes,
Yeah,
Professor.
maybe you could add one little pie chart in your key facts and figures and see how market really operates. And I'm sure there are statistics about that. Maybe there are 700,000 entities, out of which maybe 70 is actually making a lot of billions, but the rest is not even registered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to say something?
No, I want to say we understand. Sorry, Professor.
Okay, cool. I think similar thing might also be happening in agriculture. Let's see how agriculture will present their facts and figures. You know, maybe they have 10 top agricultural firms. Maybe they have that selection already.
Hello, Professor, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so good evening, Professor and everyone. I am Tida from Group Agriculture Industry, and we're diving into the market overview. So for agriculture industry, it is agriculture has accounted for 22% of the nation's GDP, and with the increasing in GDP, agriculture has provided over 3 million jobs for the nation. Moreover, agriculture sector remains a vital component of Cambodia's economy, contributing significantly to both GDP and employment. Dominated by the rice production, Cambodia is recognized as one of the world's leading rice exporters, and Cambodia formerly exported 8.6 million tons of agricultural products to 24 markets, last year worth nearly $5 billion, and up 7.8% from 7.9 million tons booked in 2021, as agriculture contributed 22.2% of the 2022 Kingdom's gross domestic product, according to the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Tina. So for our key players, we have three, which are farmers, cooperatives, and government. So the farmers, we have the planters, the one who plants the crops and vegetables. For cooperatives, we have global food corporations, seed companies, and merchants. And as for government, we have policymakers and market supports. In agriculture in Cambodia, the most products are rice, cassava, rubber, and cashew. And when dealing with agriculture industry, we also face some 4 main challenges. And the firstly is speculative land prices stemming from pre-global financial crisis. Bubbles distort the country's comparative advantages, hindering its agriculture potential. Secondly, financial shortages in the rice export sector, including insufficient capital, storage, and middlemen limit the industry growth. Thirdly, a lack of market information prevents farmers from obtaining fair prices for their product, undermining their competitiveness. And for the last issue is that we have a weak production infrastructure, such as limited irrigation and low fertilizer usage, compromises agriculture productivity and resilience. So when there is problems, we also find some solutions for that as well. And for the first solution is rural focused development. So due to most of the poor are living in the rural and remote areas, so more investment should be focused to rural development and support to agricultural development. Irrigation and rural roads have to be improved in order to raise the proportion of multi-cropping irrigation roads, agricultural research and development, and rural education have proven to be the most important for productivity enhancing, poverty reduction, and improving access to market domestically and internationally. So for our second solution is diversification into new markets and new products. The rice sector have a big potential comparable to that of the garment sector in terms of gross export value and value added generated throughout the supply chain, including employment. Cambodia needs to build on its existing capabilities and develop new ones as a step towards diversifying its economy. The remarkable economic growth of the past decade could be sustained only if Cambodia increases its competitiveness and diversifies away from its current narrowly based form of growth. And for the last solution is also related to ESG as well, which is to establish ESG compliance framework. So in Cambodia, FDI, which is foreign direct investment, is a major factor in economic growth and development. So establishing a comprehensive ESG compliance framework that complies with internationally recognized norms and guidelines is crucial to ensuring that foreign direct investment supports sustainable and responsible growth. So that's all for my part. Thank you for listening.
Very well prepared. I like the last bullet point, establishing ESG compliance framework. You know, I have news for you. You are going to make that compliance framework at the end of the program, because we will move from external environment to ESG analysis, and your team will look at these pillars of ESG, and hopefully we'll come up with more specific recommendations. And here you have nicely covered the full market, but put the cooperatives like corporations, companies, etc., in a box that we don't see any facts and figures. So for this team, I suggest you look at, you know, what kind of cooperatives are there, what kind of corporations are there, you know, what are the facts and figures, how many $1 million they are making.
Yes,
so focus on the market, let's say the big players. You see, that was my feedback to previous team. Retail focused on 5 large players and put the rest in the black box. You look at now the full box, but now the big players are a little bit hidden in facts and figures, which is fine. It is something that you could start exploring, because when you have this ESG compliance framework, you have to get some information from some companies.
Yes, I see, Professor.
Wonderful. You know, this is great presentations, also previous team. And the reason we have these, just to make it slightly better in each week we are dealing. Great. All right, shall we move to finance team? You know, this week I'm mixing and matching the team orders, not anymore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8.
Good evening, Professor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Professor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Virayut from the finance team, and today I'm going to talk about the introduction of the finance industry in Cambodia. The Cambodia's finance industry has grown dramatically throughout the past few years. In recent times, Cambodia saw many innovative approaches being implemented, such as the use of mobile banking and various fintech initiatives, such as the KQR and the Bakong system. According to a report, Cambodia has 58 commercial banks, 9 specialized banks, 5 microfinance deposit-taking institutions, or the MDIs, 82 microfinance institutions, MFIs, and 16 leasing companies. The enormous amount of financial institutions and also insurance companies are due to the technological advancement in the industry along with the improved regulatory framework. However, with much growth also comes many obstacles and challenges. This demands a closer and deeper look into the strategic issues that arise inside the finance industry. If we look into the key milestone of the finance industry in Cambodia, we can see that in 1979, we have the re-establishment of National Bank of Cambodia after the Khmer Rouge regime collapsed under the name of People Bank of Cambodia. In 1991, we have the first establishment of commercial bank called Cambodia Commercial Bank of the CCB. In 1992, we have the change in name. The change in name and duty of the Bank of Cambodia was promulgated by the royal government of Cambodia from People's Bank of Cambodia to National Bank of Cambodia. In 2010, we have the incorporation of Cambodia Stock Exchange, which is the CSX. This is a joint venture between the royal government of Cambodia and the Korean Stock Exchange. In 2013, we have the establishment of Cambodia Microfinance and Associations. This establishment is to ensure that the sustainability and prosperity of the microfinance industry in Cambodia. And in 2022, we have the implementation of the Bakong system, which is supported by blockchain technology. This revolutionized the way people in Cambodia uses the banking system and also the way we make payment every day. Next is the key players. We divide the key players into three big players, which include banks, insurances, and microfinances. Banks include ABA Bank, Akleda, Sathapana, and Keradia Bank. Insurances include
There are more banks to that, because that would have been my feedback. As an appendix, I will ask this team to make full list of banks with their assets like market share, and that information is very easy to find, because I know there are more than 20 banks in Cambodia. You just mentioned here 4, maybe top 4 players.
Yes,
so you should be able to say these top 4 players are making 80% of the market share.
Yes, yes.
To do so, I need to have these asset size, etc. For comparisons. So deep dive in these 3 key players, which is nice. Now you're covering everything, but we are a little bit more curious about, okay, what are the total number of banks? I'm sure it will start with 10% market share, 20% to 0.1. It's okay to have that chart somewhere. Similarly with insurance and also microfinances, so that we have the full view in the market.
Yes.
And do you have motor insurance as well?
I think there is, Professor.
Yeah, for cars and scooters. Are your scooters insured?
No.
No?
For me, no, Professor.
Okay, because that's a big market. Because I know in the Netherlands, in Holland, my daughter also has a scooter and it is insured. And last year, a friend of her made a little scooter accident. Luckily, nothing serious, but scooter was damaged. She got money from the insurance firm and she could buy a new one with a little more money. So maybe it could be one of your suggestions later. Hey, we are missing here in this country a big opportunity. And it could be a startup project. It could be some business recommendation or challenge industry at some point. Okay, sorry for the interruption, but you understand my point, right?
Yes, Professor.
You can continue if you remember where you left off.
Next is the top 4 player in the insurance industry, which include AIA, Manulife, Prudential, and FWD. And for the top 3 players of the microfinance industry include LOLC, Amrit Microfinance, and Active People. And next is the key products of each of the big 3 key players, which include banks. The key products of banks mainly include loan, deposits account, and mobile banking. Next is microfinance, which includes microloans and saving accounts and insurance. despite it not being as big as banks and microfinance, it includes life insurance and health insurance. As for the market shares, this pie chart was divided through the total financial assets of each industry, which the banking sector account for most of it at around 8%.
So as discussed, you will have a detailed chart for later for your final product, but let's make sure that you have it for next week when you upload your presentations. Until next week, try to find as much as market shares possible. It could be as a second or third page in your presentation. Today we focus on one. Okay, we got the point. Market overview, banking, 60,000 people working. Okay, deposits, credit accounts. You see, you have partial numbers. It's okay to understand almost 90 million deposit accounts, but we like to understand how many $1 million in that. You know, what is the total number of loans? What is the total number of credits? Could also be some key facts and figures that you can make a second page for before you upload this page.
Yes, Professor.
So I want you to focus on the ESG observations. What are the issues? What are the practices?
Yes, Professor.
Can you tell me? What is ESG practices?
The ESG best practices in the industry include first, the integration of ESG to the industry, which is to incorporate ESG to the strategic business reporting with assessment of risks and opportunities, and by showing its relevance to the stakeholders, especially decision makers. Second is to promote sustainability, which is to reduce harm to the environment and climate, spread awareness of environmental sustainability in the industry, climate risk assessment effects on the financial system, support sustainable financial instruments such as green bonds, which Cambodia CSX started to issue green bonds, but still need support from various stakeholders. Third is to social engagement by engaging with a wide range of stakeholders and collaborate with initiatives related to ESG risk management. Fourth is to encourage sustainable corporate governance. The board of directors and has to have a clear understanding of ESG risks and opportunities. Normally, the independent board of directors is very necessary to provide an oversight on the ESG. Fifth is innovation and technology. Fintech is one of the most useful tools to assess the risks and opportunities for ESG assessment in the finance industry. And lastly is the continuous improvement of the previous ESG best practices.
Okay. I think it's very important that you first find out how many people are within the financial system. Like we call it in generally, how many percent of the country is unbanked? You know, how many people don't have a bank account, for example? You know, how many people live in Cambodia these days? 20 million?
I think around 18 million.
18, okay. Well, first question, actually, especially when we talk about financial inclusion, out of 18 million people, how many of them within the banking system? You know, how many of them have a bank account? That's the financial inclusion starts with that question. And if not, where are they? I can imagine all large cities have bank branches, even smaller cities, but there are rural areas. I'm sure there is not even an ATM. And when there is no ATM, no bank branch, people don't have a bank account. So if you could find that information, I'm sure it is somewhere on the internet, or maybe some banking annual reports have that question. Try to find out how many percent of the Cambodian population has a bank account and how many percent have an insurance. My expectations that, I don't know, maybe 60% of the Cambodian people have a bank account, but only 20% have insurance. You see, these are the general starting points to make some recommendations towards the end. So for this team, deep dive a little more as a second page, some more key facts and figures in terms of market shares, also the coverage of finance sector within the population.
Yes, Professor.
Great start. You explained very well, and you put nice information. But you know, obviously, we can make slightly better. Good job, finance team.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Tourism. Would you like to continue?
Yes, Professor. Hello, Professor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my team, I'm going to start now. So my team is responsible for the tourism industry. And the tourism industry is a very big part of our Cambodia's economy. In pre-pandemic, the tourism industry makes up about 12% of Cambodia's GDP. However, due to COVID-19, it's now less than that. And in data 1, you can see the revenue of Cambodia's tourism industry. And from 2015 to 2019, we can see a gradual increase every year, up to $5 billion in 2019. And as you can see, due to COVID-19, we have a very big dip up all the way to 2021. But after 2021, the revenue for Cambodia's tourism is actually rebounding quite fast. And some analysts say that in about 2 years, we will reach pre-pandemic levels. And in data 5, it shows the number of international tourist arrivals, and it has the same trend as the revenue, dipping in 2020 and gradually increasing, but increasing quite slower than the revenue itself. Now we move on to data number 2, which is the Travel and Tourism Development Index. This index was introduced by the World Economic Forum, and it measures the development and the development of the traveling and tourism industry of each country. And Cambodia ranks 79th with an index score of 3.6. According to an Asian Development Bank report, it said that the ranking of Cambodia's index is quite low due to lack of infrastructures like roads, airports, and ports, as well as the lack of healthcare, sanitation, as well as human resources in the hospitality sector. However, we are improving. We are building more infrastructures such as airports, ports, and expressways. The recent announcement of the Phnom Penh to Siem Reap Expressway, as well as the Phnom Penh to Bavat Expressway as well. So we are building more infrastructures in regards to transportation. Data number 3, we're going to talk about key products. Now, this was a very difficult part of, to find out because the tourism industry covers a lot of products and services. So it's hard to fit all into one slide, but we pick out the 3 biggest one, which is the Angkor Wat and cultural attractions of Cambodia, which is a key part of the tourism industry here because they attract a lot of visitors and tourists as well. Secondly, the resort and accommodation sector, so hotels, resorts, and the And the third part is ecotourism. So tourism that involves nature and wildlife as well, which is a good thing to improve to like sustainability as well as being a part of the ESG movement as well. And for data number 4, it shows the international tourist arrivals by countries. So this shows us the nationality of the tourists, as well as give us more information about the customers in the tourism industry. And we can see that Vietnam is the biggest biggest country, second followed by Thailand, China, and then Laos. Keep in mind that this is 2023 from Q1 to Q3 because that's the only data available from the Ministry of Tourism. Next, we move to the main ESG issues.
Before you move that, I would like recommend your team to have a second page about more data points, like number of hotels, restaurants. You know, I'm sure there are statistics, facts, and figures available about tourism industry. So you can make a second page with more detailed information, and that recommendation valid for every team. Don't try to make everything in the one page. Enlarge it as a second page if necessary before you upload until next week. So I will make an announcement regarding to that. Little more research, a few data points, you will be there. Yeah, let's talk about ESG, about this industry.
Okay, Professor. So back to the main ESG issues. So this is issues that was brought up by the Asian Development Bank. And first is the lack of modern and well-maintained airports, road sanitation, and solid waste management facilities. Second is the poor healthcare services and vulnerability to climate change because our tourism really relies on wildlife, nature, as well as like our cultural attractions such as the Angkor Wat, and they are very vulnerable to climate change. And third is weak tourism planning, low services standards, shortage of skilled hospitality workers, and ineffective planning, and ineffective marketing, sorry. And this is due to related to the government side, where especially their marketing isn't as effective as it would be. So our moving on to our ESG best practices to resolve these issues, we first need to invest in better transportation infrastructures like roads, airports, and ports, which we are doing currently. Secondly is improve the quality of healthcare, sanitation, and waste management, because the healthcare in our country is not up to standards in comparison to our neighbors like Thailand, as well as our waste management, where we are not able to control our wastage properly, as well as we should reduce our wastage as well. Third is to strengthen our tourism planning and training programs for hospitality workers. This is just to invest in the human resources, so more training and more specialists in the country. And lastly is implement effective marketing strategies that highlight sustainable practices, cultural preservation, and environmental friendly practices. And this is just to comply with the ESG, and we're promoting that Cambodia's tourism industry is complying with the ESG best practices. And this is the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, well done. As mentioned, some more facts and figures will be helpful. And also, last week you were only presenting. Maybe your other 4 members can also be involved in the upcoming presentation. Let's say you and someone, maybe 2 other people are joining the conversation. You're doing great, but you know, others should also be on screen. All right, good job. Let's go to garments, footwear, etc. That was also very important industry for Cambodia, making, I don't know, large chunk of the exports.
Excuse me, Professor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so excuse me for a little bit, set up. Okay,
Yes.
let's start. Greeting, Professor, and hi everyone, and welcome to today's presentation on the garment and textile industry in Cambodia. The garment and textile industry, or GFT, which is known as garment, footwear, and textile in the industry, is one of the most economy, accounting for about 8% of the country total export. The Cambodia garment and textile industry is ranked 8 globally, which amounted to 1.6% of the world market share. There are currently 1,326 garment factories in Cambodia, employing around 840,000 workers, and the majority of GFT workers in Cambodia are under the age of 35, and around 80% are women. And the main export destinations for Cambodia garment and textile product are the EU, which is about 40%, 40.88%, and the US 25.9%, and Japan around 27%. And moreover, the total export value of Cambodia garment and textile, we can take a look at that. We can see that it has been steadily growing over the past few years. And in 2018, the export value was $9.6 billion. This number grew to $10.8 billion in 2019. However, there was a decline in 2020 due to COVID-19. And the export value grew again in 2021 and reached $12.8 billion in 2022. Now, let's review about the growth of GFT export, mainly the blue one, which is garment, and it is evidence that the garment has grown steadily during 2018 to 2020, but grow very sharply in 2021 and 2022. Furthermore, let's talk about the key player. The Cambodian garment and textile thrive due to the collaboration of key players, several key players. For instance, like international brand like H&M and Gap acts as the buyer, placing order for the garment. There's also the government plays by policy that maintain labor to ensure well-being. Finally, labor unions and NGO like TAFTEC, they advocate for and protect worker. Economic importance can
I have difficulty to hearing you. I'm not sure if everyone is experiencing that. You have your connection is poor.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me, sir. Can you hear me? Well?
Yeah, now is better.
Okay. So let's continue as I speak about the key issues. So environmental pollution is a major concern as factory trash and chemical pollute landfill, waterways, and the air. This pollution damage locals and create risks to health. And another concern is wage for employee. The minimum wage rarely cover basic living expenditure, and working conditions are also problematic as well. There has been report for mass spending incidents within factories, potentially due to harsh environment, and somehow there are due to a shortage of inexpensive transits because many workers commute by truck and putting them at a risk. Finally, bankruptcy has caused manufacturing owner to leave leaving worker without salary, servant pay, or benefit. And let's move to the best practice in Cambodian garment and textile industry. For instance, we have for other countries and other organizations. For example, like Arvind Limited in India has constructed facility that convert textile waste into reusable fiber. This approach reduces overall waste and resource consumptions. And there are also the International Labour Organization, which is in shortcut ILO, has established a code of practice on safety and health in the textile industry. This code provides comprehensive guidelines for reducing virus hazard within the industry. Additionally, there are also the French that have founded the AGS Wage Guarantee Scheme that funded by mandatory employer contribution, ensure that workers receive their wages and servants pay even if their factory goes bankrupt. So in summary, the garment and textile has been steady growth in recent years, but there are also challenges that needs to be addressed by implementing some best practices. Cambodian garment and textile can continue to grow while also improving conditions for workers and protecting the environment. I hope all of you found this presentation informative, and thank you for your time.
Okay, well prepared. My suggestion for going forward, identify large companies. Maybe there are a few large companies operating in this area, a few large companies from garments, a few large companies travel goods, and maybe a few large companies for footwear, so that you could start looking their websites and their practices for your ESG analysis. One little data you could add, the top percent of the GDP share, because you have different numbers, but I don't see what is the GFT in share of the GDP. So that is missing. Also, one practical question, what is the minimum wage in this industry? How many dollars?
I haven't checked about the minimum wage yet.
Okay, anybody knows in the group that what is the minimum wage in Cambodia? So this is same for agriculture, same for construction, same for tourism. There is a minimum wage that you can quickly check. Google can tell you what is the minimum wage.
For garment, it's $200.
$200 a month. It's not much, huh? And I heard last week, when you graduated, start as a junior auditor, you will earn $400. It's also not too much. But if you are a top tier level consultant, you will earn $4,000 per month.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. That's not even a lot if you live in Singapore, because you need to pay rent like maybe $2,000. Okay, that's the after finishing your consulting the classes, well prepared. And Sam, you were only one also last week making the presentations. Try to involve also other team members. Okay.
Yes, Professor.
All right, let's go to our last presentation, education.
Yes, hello, Professor. Okay, so wait, can you stop sharing the slide? So good evening, professors, and today I'm going to respond with the education industry. So education industry in Cambodia has been growing steadily in recent years, driven by government initiatives to improve access to education and increase the quality of education in the country. As we can see that from 2019 until the present, Cambodia education system practice quality and equity, while if comparing to the past, we can see that we're more focusing on the how to rebuild our education, and in order to improve their performance in the industry, the education system also aim to promote some STEM education, strengthen the technical and vocational education and training. Therefore, the Ministry of Education budget allocation fluctuated significantly as a percentage of Cambodia's GDP between 2019 and 2021. It rose from 2.82% in 2019 to 3% in 2020, but there are a steep decline to 1.60% in 2021. Moving on, so the development of one industry cannot happen without the key partners, and the key partner that we are going to mention today are divided into 4 main points, which is public school. So public school, which is the majority school in Cambodia, they are government funded and follow the curriculum set by MOEYS, also known as Ministry of Education, and it is around 13,300 schools nowadays, and the second one is private school. For the private school, it is more flexibility in curriculum and technique and teaching style, but enrollment typically require paying the 2,000, and around the number of school is around 1,222, which is more less than the public school. And we also have the non-government organization, which is NGO. They are group that function independently of any government and typically work for social for the social cooperation, and typically for the social and political goal. For example, they also having the organized the one project which is Teach for Cambodia that collaborate with the MOEYS to address teaching, training, and development. And the last one is international organizations. This is one example between all among of the international organization that have cooperated with our education, which is UNICEF. They partner with MOEYS to ensure children access education and stay enrolled and receive quality learning experience. Moving to the key player of the education industry, we have Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, which is MOEYS, and it is in charge of everything related to education in Cambodia, and from preschool to university. And the responsibilities of MOEYS is to set the curriculum, make the rules, manage the budget, and work with others to make the education system run smoothly and have improvement. We also have the communities and parents, which also one of the important role. They responsibility to create a positive learning environment for children. Additionally, a community can be involved in school governance, offering a valuable insight and contributing to decision-making processes. So, since there are many there are many levels of education. In this business strategy, we are focusing on the higher education, and the key product that we have for the higher education industry is divided to 3 main levels, which is bachelor degree, master degree, and PhDs. And our target customers and students from everywhere all around the country, especially the local students, to connect to the right universities. And moreover, Cambodia's education system also invests in their workforce by providing training programs and facilitating enrollment for their employees. Moving to the last part of the education industry, which is also one of the main issues which is every industry must have, is ESG. So for the environment, many schools and universities in Cambodia still heavily rely on single-use plastic, leading to pollution and environmental damage. And this is result in literate campus and surrounding areas. So in order to reduce this problem, the university can offer educational opportunities and empower students to practice resource efficiency, waste reduction, and sustainable consumption. So moving to the social issues, university in Cambodia rely address social responsibility, which involve the institution's commitment to contributing positively to the surrounding community and and society at large. And the best practice for this problem is implementing a corporate social responsibility, which is CSO framework, can guide university integrating social responsibility into its core value and operation. For the last issues, we have the governance. So the absence of an independent oversight committee or advisory board in a university can lead to a lack of accountability, increased risk of conflict of interest, diminished transparency. So university could establish an independent oversight committee and or advisory board composed representatives from various stakeholders, including faculty, university governance, practice, evaluating institutional policies and procedures, and providing recommendations for improvement. And we also provide some key university as an example in our research, and here, which is divided into two private and public universities. And that's all of our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, nicely done. You mentioned a lot of things, but I missed here loads of facts and figures. How many students are there? How many schools are there? So like banking industry will also do a similar research. First, show us, what is the total education system in Cambodia? Primary schools, secondary schools, higher education industry, higher education. And then maybe number of schools, number of students, number of teachers. I don't know what kind of information is there, because higher education is only a very small part of education system, and they are mainly concentrated on large cities. I can imagine primary schools in rural area has totally different priorities or issues than universities in Phnom Penh. So I'd like to take the team focus area a little bit broaden for also make comparisons. You could say in primary education, these are the main issues, and secondary, this and that, and higher education, this and that. And let's see how we can deep dive afterwards. But at least for upcoming lecture, add another page with as much as information about the number of students, schools, rural, not rural, etc. I'm sure this information is easily available.
Okay,
well, looking at the time, we are nearly 2 hours, and also prepare. We plan for 1.5 hours, but my experience usually it's between 1.5 and 2 hours our presentations. This was a great start. I'm very happy that all teams joined today, and almost all of you presented very nice information. And there are maybe some extra focus areas until the next lecture. So I'm excited to hear your stories, and I look forward to actually deep dive on the macro environment in the upcoming lecture. You have now 2 weeks to prepare. In the meantime, use that additional week improving your one-pagers. If needed, make it 2-pager facts and figures and upload it afterwards. Great, that was what I have for you. Any remaining questions, remarks?
Can you hear me, Professor?
Yeah.
Regarding the submissions, only the representative need to upload it, right? And the member no needs.
Only 1 member per team.
So do member needs to mark as done the assignment or not to avoid missing?
No. On 1 upload per team will do. Because in that page, we will see which team members are there. So I will not give grade for your uploads, but still it must be somewhere registered. So I could have a look afterwards, you know, what are the industries, what are the feedback.
Thank
so
you.
1 upload per team will do. It's about your team page, your facts and figures, page 1, if needed, page 2. So that is the upload deliverable. And also you will prepare your 1-pager pastel to present for upcoming week. Clear?
Clear, Professor. Thank you.
All right. Then I wish you a wonderful evening, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Sorry, Professor, I have a question.
Yeah.
So for the next week work, we only need to submit the slide and no other works, right?
No. Your team page and your facts and figures. So
Okay.
that 2, maybe 3 pages.
Oh, got it. Thank you, Professor.
You don't have to upload pastel because you are going to present it first.
Yes.
So I will also upload pastel and Porter 5 template pages, so you can download maybe tomorrow. Maybe you could, you know, work simultaneously, make a teamwork, you know, 2 members work on pastel, 3 members can work on Porter's 5 already, because then in 2 consecutive weeks, you will present the pastel and Porter because we adjusted the dates. So maybe it will be helpful if you divide the labor of division of labor. But I will make an announcement and also give this information as well. Any other questions, unclarities? All right, then have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your school days. And I'll see
Professor,
you in 2 weeks.
sorry, Professor, I have a question.
This is the 3rd time I ask questions. Do you have questions? If not, I make my final talk, and then 3rd time somebody is introducing. When I ask if you have a questions, please raise your hand, start talking before I close the class. Yes.
I'm from finance team, and last time you mentioned that for the bank we put in the appendix. So is that we have to upload the appendix as well?
I mean, as a 2nd page.
Yes.
Maybe if you have more pages, you can also put there, but try to make it maximum 2 pages. In the final presentation, maybe you can use the extra information in the appendix.
Yes, Professor. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All
thank you
right,
so much.
I will ask one more time. Do you have any other questions? Because if not, I will make my final call and then don't come again when I finish the class. Do you have any remaining questions? This is the time that you can ask. If not, here it comes. I'd like to close the session with a smile before someone just asked the question. Right. It's let's have fun as well together, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. No questions? Bye-bye.